Alexandra, welcome to the World Oceans Day 10-hour newsroom at the Dog Media Center here in Leicester. It is wonderful of having you with us on the program. Could you, to start off, introduce yourself a little bit? Say something about yourself, your background, and we'll take it from there.
Okay, I'm Alexandra Knight. I'm 22 and I'm an amateur artist. I've actually had art on display before, sculptures in Gosport in Southampton for a month. I come from a very professional background. I mean, my mother trained nurse, my father is credit risk analyst, he's retired now. And I just come from a very open-minded family, very educated on environment-wise. My mother educated me rather a lot about environment, and so that's me basically in a nutshell.
Fantastic, that sounds absolutely good. Thank you so much. Now, you are engaged with a campaign, if I understand, of getting climate adverts into cinemas. That is something I never have come across ever. Anyone? There's all kind of climate action, but not getting adverts, climate adverts in cinemas. And you mentioned one point sticks in my mind: people cannot click it away. Can you say a little bit more? What is involved? What are you doing? How did you come to this?
This idea was just it just happened during a random brainstorming I had. I mean, I think quite a lot about what we can do commercially that's not necessarily going to have fake news splattered all over it. And I was thinking to myself, come on, there has to be something. We actually got, in format in the past that we could actually bring into the 21st century. And then it sort of hit me. I thought, we've had public information ads before in the 70s, and they work quite well. And I thought, well, hang on a minute, why don't we have one for climate change? I mean, it can be completely universal. We can format that totally universally. We can subtitle it in lots of different languages. And we can put it in the cinemas. I mean, they used to do that in the 70s as well. And even before in the 50s, there were public information, as there were pathway adverts. So I think I took all the inspiration from everything I've sort of seen and heard, and it just culminated into that one idea.
Well, the burning question comes up. What kind of advert? What are you thinking about?
I'm thinking about an advert that won't frighten people, because there's a lot of people already out there suffering from eco-anxiety, and I'm sure nobody wants to exacerbate that on a bigger scale. I certainly know I don't want to do that. And basically, make it awe-inspiring and very educational, but very simplistic, because if you overload people are going to have to watch it far more than once to understand, and they could be there for a long time trying to get it. So make it simplistic, basically. How
are you getting it out there? Any thoughts who to approach? There is a whole network of cinemas.
So the basic idea at the moment is I'm actually having a look at who is likely to survive in the industry. I mean, I looked in the Telegraph, and it said Odeon cinemas in the UK were in very big trouble. So at the minute, I'm kind of having to work day by day, thinking about who I'm actually going to approach when the whole thing's finished. But ideally, I'd like to make it independently. So no big film studios. I mean, some of the most critically acclaimed films are actually independently made films. So there is room.
Are you doing the adverts yourself, or you have someone working for you?
I'm looking to put together a team of people who can help me out, basically. A director, a producer, someone who can cut, someone who can get hold of the clips. I mean, I was thinking about actually using recycled clips to cut the carbon of the production itself, you know, set some principles.
Are we into the production process, or is it just the ideas so far?
It's so far ideas, and actually I'm quite close to starting up a crowdfunder as well and looking for sponsors.
So can I have a chat with you for a second, Alexandra?
Yeah,
I signed the petition about half an hour ago. Felt a bit of a fake talking to you without signing it, so I've signed the petition. And it's interesting hearing you talk as well about being sort of, you know, so it's not about, you know, causing eco-anxiety and stuff, because I've seen a few student projects which tends to focus on the future being sort of quite dystopian, and if you don't want it to be like this, we need to change. Whereas I would say one of the most positive aspects of the current COVID situation is certainly here in Leicester. A couple of times I've stood in the middle of a 4-lane carriageway with no traffic at all and taken photographs and thought, I know it's never going to be like this again, but what are the aspects of this that I actually quite like? And we've had cleaner air and things like that. So I think the positive messages can very much focus on some of the things that we can make, some of the small things that we can do. So maybe that's where your clips that you use could be quite good, because you can have that sort of doomsday scenario, but at the same time there's some really positive aspects to it as well, isn't there?
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, what kind of clips have you thought about using? Have you been onto sort of any sort of libraries or people that have got any kind of footage? Have you been looking where you could get those from?
I've been mainly sort of going from many years of watching nature documentaries, and sometimes I see things, you know, I'll be looking through Instagram sometimes and I'll see imagery. I mean, there's a very interesting piece of imagery which I came across not long ago, and it's actually a tree plantation in the shape of a pair of lungs. So, you know, I could potentially be using imagery like that.
I like the fact as well that you could crowdfund for money, but you could maybe also crowdfund for your images. That would be quite interesting. I mean, one of the best documentaries I think we've got here, and also an accompanying photo book in the archive and library upstairs, is that sort of Life in a Day, where people were encouraged to film clips and send them in, and they made a full feature-length documentary from that. So, you know, truly collaborative. I think that's what I liked about the ODA so much. Yeah,
thank you. That would be probably part of the idea. I mean, it can be quite difficult, you know, and you've really got to think, haven't you? Because you don't want to screw something like this up, because if you get it wrong, it's going to have quite a bad cultural impact. You know, somebody sat there in the cinema, and if we get it wrong, we're going to send a whole horde of people out, actually quite scared. So, yeah, to get it right, to keep it human, keep it universal, and keep it non-scary, most importantly. That's the ambition.
So where are you based in the country at the moment?
I'm based outside London in a county called Buckinghamshire.
Okay. So you're quite... How long would it take you to get to the sea?
Oh, gosh, that would take a couple of hours to get to the sea.
Okay. So if you were to head off to the seaside now, for example, what would you say were the main aspects for you that you would be able to put into your film? Is it kind of arriving at the sea, the sort of the calming of the waves? Is it sort of, you know, the enormity of it, really, isn't it? It's like when you look at the global map, for example, behind Gerhardt, it's so big, you don't realise just how much water there is. Is that some of the stuff that you're going to try and capture as well, that sort of inspirational, motivational side of it?
It would be, yeah, because I've seen so much of that in some, quite frankly, amazing documentaries by people from all over the activism community, and I want to incorporate as much of the good stuff as possible from every angle possible.
Do you have already a concept? Are you focusing on climate temperature rise, or oceans, or air, or pollution on the land, or plastic. I mean, it's such a wide topic.
It is, yes. What I want to, basically, the general gist of what I'm focusing on is the little things that people can actually do to just lower the carbon footprint generally. Because if you think about it en masse, if people did it en masse enough, we could make quite a significant change. And I'm aware that people want corporates to change as well, which I do think is incredibly important, that we don't keep using, well, the commercial world the way we do, because we are wrecking the planet. And yeah, I think that it is down to everybody, but it's the gist of, you know, if you use less fossil fuels for bottles, you're using less water. If you don't drive the car, you're not polluting the air. It's very small things like that, basically snippets of information like that. I mean, okay, I read something quite shocking from an organisation called the Carbon Brief, and in places like South Africa, Nigeria and Bangladesh, over 2/3 of the adult population actually don't know what climate change is. This is why I feel it's so important.
So, if I understand right, you're focusing on individual action, individual responsibility, motivating people to do something, to do their part for the climate.
Yeah.
Today we have heard that quite a few times of we doing our personal part and setting an example, which is absolutely great. Do you have any idea of a timeline when that project would actually can be watched in cinemas?
I'm going to say, with the current situation at the moment, it could be a while. It might be. I mean, I'm going to try and aim to get it done within about a couple of years, because, you know, it could take a while to get the funding together, the production team together. It could all take quite a while, but I will try and get it made. The ambition is under 5 years.
Can I ask you, how many signatures do you need on your change.org, or do you have a number in mind that you would like?
As many as possible. I mean, ideally, I want to hit 100,000. I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but that's the ambition. Something around the number of 100,000.
That's great. Well, thank you very much for talking to us. That's really, really impressive. It's amazing to see something. I think, you know, being the age that Gerhard and I are, the other side of 50. You know, having grown up with public service announcements and broadcasting, I mean, I remember being terrified to death with the AIDS television advert, and also significantly driving slower after seeing all of the Australian car crash adverts. I know that, you know, it can be done really well and can be very effective. So I think you've undertaken an amazing challenge, and well done for doing it.
Thank you.
Do you have any plans of showing that on television or cable television around the world? So it might be even easier, or a first step before you go to the big cinemas.
Yeah, that was something I did think about, and that is something else I'm going to aim for. But, you know, if it's going to take a lot longer for the bigger leagues, I will actually try and get it put out on YouTube as well.
Brilliant.
Okay, that sounds great. Yes. Anything else?
That's it. Great. Thank you very much for agreeing to talk to us.
Thank you very much, Alexandra. That was
you.
great. We wish you all success. Keep us updated, and we'll talk again in the future when the project has progressed a bit. So you are producer, director, and everything. It sounds like.
Yes, I'm having to take on everything at the moment.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for talking to us,
you.
and have a wonderful day.